We're going to bring our candidate, one of our candidates in the Senate District 20 district, currently held by Senator Dick Harpootlian. Ben Dunn is going to join us. Ben, are you there? There we go. Ben, can you hear us?
Oh,
how about that? Can you hear us now?
Yeah, I can hear you if you can hear me.
We sure can.
Well, how are you doing tonight?
Good, good. It's been, I was telling folks a little earlier, welcome and thank you for participating in our very first virtual Meet the Candidates night. It's been a little touch and go as I get used to doing this as a host for the first time. So forgive me, I think I cut you off a little bit earlier. So I appreciate your hanging in there. And I hope everyone can hear us that's on the call. I see a bunch of names. I think everyone essentially is muted, but I hope you can all hear us. Again, if you have any questions, you know, you can, or if you're having trouble, you can always text me and I'll see it immediately. When I keep looking down, I'm looking at my phone. It's 446-3105. So anyway, Ben, tell us again a little bit about you, why you decided to run for this office, and what's going on.
Sure, and I know a number of the folks on this call I know pretty well and know me, and so it'd be really great to be at Doc's right now and having some barbecue, but hopefully soon, hopefully soon. But yeah, I am running again for the Senate District 20 seat. And in terms of who I am, you know, I am an attorney in a small law firm here in Columbia. I'm married to Maureen, and we have 4 kids together that are in Richland, Lexington School District 5, and we feed into the Chapin High School system. And I've been a member of I've been in the Army and a veteran of the Afghanistan wars, and have been in the National Guard for, wow, about 25 years. So that's a little bit about me. And in terms of why I'm running, I like policy. I think elected service is an area where you can really make a difference, particularly in our state. I think we've made some great strides, particularly over the last couple of decades, of sort of, you know, retiring some of the relics of the good old boy system that you know, governed South Carolina for so long when it was a one-party state. But we have some more work that we can do, and I just, you know, I live here and I raise my kids here because I love this place. I don't want to be anywhere else, and I think that our potential is absolutely unlimited. I think we just have to be smart in the policies that we pursue, and if we do that, again, I don't think there's anything that we can't achieve. So that's why I'm running.
Very good. Are there any particular issues other than what you just mentioned that you'd like to bring up?
Well, I think that the biggest issue
you have right now.
Sure. I think that the biggest issue we are currently facing, unfortunately, it's a bit unknown, but it's how this whole COVID-19, the pandemic, and the economic damage that it's done to us. You know, exactly how is that going to shake out for our nation and for our state over the next 3, 6, 12 months? I'm very concerned that with the length of the shutdowns, that we have some tough times ahead, at least for a while. You know, it kind of stinks for folks. You know, if you got into the workforce in the 90s or the 2000s, then you know you've been through the Great Recession in 08, 09, and 10, 11, and now this. So I think that we're going to have some extremely challenging times ahead, and exactly how that's going to shake out, I don't think we know right now. Obviously, there's the federal element of this is going to be big. But once we see what what Congress and the president are going to do, what we do at the state is going to be absolutely critical to determining, how long and how deep the hole is that we have to dig our way out of. So to me, that is absolutely going to be the biggest challenge over the next couple of years.
Absolutely. Now, Tyson had a couple of questions. In all fairness, he was also hoping to ask these questions of David, but I couldn't figure that out in time. So I'm going to make sure that Tyson is unmuted right now. Tyson, can you hear us?
Hey, Eaddy. Hey, Ben.
Hey, Tyson.
Thanks for stepping up again and running. I had two quick questions, and I'll throw them both out, and you can take them in any order. I think first, probably one of the first issues you're going to have to vote on, or at least it seems it's heading that way, is the Santee Cooper issue. Have you given any thought about, kind of where things have been on that? If what Senator Harpootlian has said on that, and how you would position yourself. So that's Santee Cooper's number one. The second thing is it seems like Senator Harpootlian and the Dems have been real involved in, some of the local issues, things like 5 points, other things that have come up over the last 2 years. Do you think there's a proper threshold for a state senator to really get involved in local issues like that? And if so, like, what's that threshold where you see like it's time for a state senator to get involved?
Sure. I guess first, Tyson, when it comes to Santee Cooper, I absolutely we believe we need to sell it. When it was created a century ago, there very well may have been a good reason to have the state subsidizing folks, in particularly in really rural areas. So that we could get our state electrified. Obviously, we are way past that now, and the issue again that I see with Santee Cooper goes back to what I was saying earlier, and that is what's the economy going to be looking like over the next 6, 12, 24 months. The reason for that, of course, is that while I do want the state to get out of the power generation business and to get Santee Cooper privatized, I don't want to sell the asset, at rock bottom prices. So we don't want to put it on the market and at a time when just the economics of it dictate that the state is not going to get nearly what it could if times were a little better. So that's the main concern I have there. So I absolutely support privatizing it, but particularly after COVID-19, timing is just going to be an issue, and I think that kind of remains to be seen. On your second your second question, in some ways, you certainly appreciate elected officials who are willing to give their time and are willing to give their input into local issues. At the same time, though, it's very important that everyone stays in their lane. And as a right now as a candidate for the state senate, my focus and my interest is on how to impact legislation at the state level that will benefit and promote everything, the economics and life and everything that we have going on here in the Midlands. I hesitate to say that it would never be appropriate for a state rep or a state senator to get involved in a local issue. But at the same time, again, we have local officials for a reason. And sometimes, being a resident of Richland County and being right here with City of Columbia, that's a hard, I kind of choke on those words a bit. because goodness knows the way things are managed, particularly in the city sometimes, just absolutely leaves you scratching your head. Having said that, though, they still have a place. Now, a lot of what Dick Arputlian has done in 5 Points, of course, he's done as a private citizen and being an attorney. I guess the main issue I have there is that what was going on with the bars in 5 Points, good thing, bad thing, whatever, but state law needs to be uniformly enforced, because there was nothing that was going on in 5 Points that wasn't going on, all over the state, particularly in places like, Clemson and down at the beach. And if we are going to enforce a certain standard here in Columbia, well, okay, fine, but that needs to be done everywhere. What we don't want and what we don't need is uneven and unequal application of the laws across the state. That I think is just a recipe for disaster.
Any other questions, Tyson, or comments?
No, thanks, Ben.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Now we've got a question from Eric Gann again. Let me see if I can, there we go.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, great. You can hear us.
All right,
One of my cats is trying to join the.
Hey, let the cat in. I got a dog right next to me. So, hey, Ben, crazy question. I supported you last time go around and all that. Why'd you wait so late to get in? Seriously.
I thought about it a lot and prayed about it a lot. It was tough. I kind of enjoy the running piece. It's kind of neat, meeting folks. And like I said, I like getting to talk about issues. It is a bit challenging on the family, particularly with the kids. So I did ponder it for a while, but I guess the way I was looking at it is, whether you sign up, the first day that filing is open or the last, what matters is, do you file or not, and do you decide to run? And yes, I did decide to go at the end of the filing period, but I guess, I wanted to take my time and make sure I had a comfort level and make sure I was doing what I felt was the right thing to do.
Yeah, but there's a lot of people that wrote you off already, buddy.
I understand.
Okay. Let's see, and see if there are some other questions going on. I had a question, Ben. I remember last time you ran the transportation situation, or the roads kind of around that district in your area, were something that you had a specifically, how Richland County or maybe state DOT was dealing with Malfunction Junction and some of the ways that roads were being planned that weren't really taking into account the neighborhoods. Is that something that you're concerned about again, or what? And while you answer, I'm gonna step away and put my cat outside.
I understand how the animals and kids go. Yeah, I think that what the DOT is doing requires more or less, constant oversight. One of the big issues, of course, that was going on last time is part of the, one of the big issues last time that really was of concern to folks in Senate District 20 was the DOT's plan to add a bridge, not an exit, but a bridge, an additional bridge across 26 connecting Tram Road and Beatty Road. So it's there in the St. Andrews area. And that created a community uproar, and the DOT got a tremendous amount of pushback from the community and shelved the idea. What was kind of disturbing about it was, if you talk to the DOT people, essentially they had some extra money and didn't think it run $5 or $10 million to put the bridge up. So that's why they were going to do it, which it wasn't that it was particularly needed for the redesign of the 2620 interchange. They just kind of had the money and said, why not? Which I found amazing. But in any event, Dick Arputlian is currently sponsored some bill right now, for example, to add some tolls on I-95. And while I get the idea of, hey, we got all these people who are not residents going through our state, why don't we collect some money from them? To me, I can't say that. How should I say this? I think tolls should be like an absolute last resort type of funding mechanism. I don't like them. I don't think that we really need them. Again, if you continue to look at the amount of money that DOT spends on road construction versus road repair, it's they're still building a ton of new road mileage. I know that I believe it was Senator Setzler had introduced a bill to allow the DOT to use revenues from that were raised in the 2017 gas tax hike to add additional lanes to interstates. And adding lanes is great. That's fantastic. But right now we kind of need to I think we need to focus, at least for a while, on the repair and the renovation of the inventory of roads that we currently have. And adding extra road miles or siphoning money away from that to add extra road miles, even though, yes, extra lanes would be nice in a lot of areas, I don't think that's the way to go. So I think we have a long way to go with getting the DOTs focus more on maintaining what we have before we start spending tremendous amounts of money on adding extra roads that we will have to maintain in perpetuity.
Okay, we've got two more questions coming up, one from Eric and one from David Larsen. Thanks, David, for staying on the call. We're going to let Eric go first. Eric, can you hear us? Eric? Can you hear us? Eric? Eric, can you hear me? Eric?
You got me unmuted there.
Okay. Well, Eric's supposed to be unmuted too, but why don't we, while we're working on Eric, you go ahead, David. What's your question?
I really didn't have a question. I just wanted to say thank you so much for your service and all your time. And it means a lot to some of us younger guys when we got, guys that have been in 20 plus years. I just wanted to say thank you for that.
Well, I appreciate it. Don't look like it at the moment. They canceled our drills for April and May, which I really didn't think they would do that. But between that and the barbershops being closed, I hadn't had a haircut, and this is as long as my hair has been that I can remember. But in any event, thank you very much, David. That's very kind of you.
Not a pleasure. My pleasure, sir.
Thank you for that, David. Okay, while we're working on Eric.
Hey, I already asked my question, but if Ben needs a haircut, the senior chick does mine. I'll hook him up if he needs it.
I appreciate the hookup, man.
All right, let's go to Joshua Ayers. Let's see. Joshua, can you hear us?
Awesome. Yes. And I appreciate it. I just wanted to say for Ben, hey man, fellow reservist or reserve component, been doing this 10 years. In fact, I'm on active duty orders, so I'll be joining you guys in the fray on some of these other things. I want to really say how appreciative and how important it is to protect that I-95 corridor. I take that, probably a couple of times a week, or it was, because it's stationed out at Fort Bragg, so up and down that coast. But last thing we want to do is punish people who want to stop by for South Carolina's lower taxes to buy all sorts of other things, and to punish them for going around that route, because I think toll roads, like you said before, are probably the worst thing that we can do economically. So just want to applaud that effort. Hope you keep up that, keeping that lane open, because that actually means a lot to other people, especially like people like me that kind of have to travel a ton.
Absolutely, yes, sir. My wife's sister is a teacher at Fort Bragg, and so we go back and forth there a good bit to see family. And in addition to being expensive, I just think it's frustrating as all get out when every time you have to go through a toll booth when you're up north somewhere. And I just, I get that road construction, road repair is expensive, but the DOT has a tremendous budget, and I think that if we were wiser in how we allocated those resources, that we can support what we have, and perhaps once we get things into a little better state of repair, then we can look at on a go forward basis of where we need to do major new construction.
I absolutely agree, and appreciate it. Got my this is, so I work at USASOC, so it's not even like bother, but yeah, this is beard level quarantine.
I understand. Yes, sir.
Okay. And let's see, we've got Tyson has another question. Let's see, Tyson. There we go. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. Hey, Ben, one last thing. I think, you've seen over the last couple months that it's been tough to pass a CR, both, the Senate, a continuing resolution, both the Senate and the House kind of going back and forth, and both of those chambers are controlled by Republicans. I think it's always interesting when you see like the inner chamber dynamics being played out. I'm curious on your philosophy. In the Senate, you've also got those holds. So, kind of what's your philosophy in terms of kind of how to be an effective legislator and get what you want, really in the Senate, and also getting it through on the other side in the House, when the leadership sometimes doesn't always agree with the chambers in both places.
Sure. And Tyson, I don't think there's any, magical formula to that. I do think communication ends up being key. It's funny that you asked that question. My law partner and I today, for whatever reason, we got to talking politics and some history, and my partner particularly was talking about how most recent presidents have had a pretty contentious relationship with Congress, and he was talking. My partner brought up the example of President Johnson, and how not that a lot of the policies that he supported and stood for are necessarily conservative in nature, but that he was a pretty effective advocate for getting things through the legislative process. And it seemed that a couple of reasons for that is, one, he had been there forever. I mean, he knew all the players, but I think more importantly was that he constantly communicated with these folks. Yes, they would wrangle back and forth in the way they would talk to the press, but he kept those lines of communication open. And again, he was pursuing policies that maybe we wouldn't like, but that process is effective no matter which side of the aisle you're on. So it's completely possible to hold to your principles, yet at least give the other side the courtesy of hearing them out. And if you take the time to do that, and you have the patience to listen, what I've found in dealing with all kind of issues in my life, whether it's professional or personal, is that oftentimes you can find areas of agreement that you never would have known were there if you hadn't of taken that minute to listen and discuss. Now, Tyson, if I make it to the Senate, I may learn that maybe I'm being naive and it'll never go anywhere. But I don't know what else to do. Everybody in that chamber is an adult, and we either disagree in a civil and a cordial manner, or we continue on a path of increasing partisanship until we get to the point that our local, state, and finally federal governments just can't function anymore. So I think that communication piece, that's got to be the key.
Sounds good. Any other questions for Ben? Okay, I don't see any hands raised at the moment. But I want to say, Ben, we just have a couple of minutes left, so why don't you give us your contact information and social media information so that folks will be able to contact you if they have any other questions or want to help on your campaign. Are there things going on right now that I know it's a difficult, weird way to campaign, but if there's anything that you have requests for, just let us know in terms of, let the audience know in terms of your contact information.
Well, anyone that's willing to help out, we are thrilled to have it. My website is Dunn4Senate.com, and 4 is spelled out FOR. So my last name Dunn is DUNN. So it's Dunn4Senate.com. You can always reach me on my cell also, which is 803. And of course now, thanks, now we have to dial the whole 10-digit number. I'm sure you guys are enjoying that as much as I am. But again, my cell is 803-413-0354. And my email, it's bdunn and the numeral 2. I'm Benjamin Allen Dunn II. That's where that came from. But it's bdunn2 again at Dunn4Senate.com.
Sounds great. And again, I'd like to thank both Ben and David Larsen. Ben with Senate District 20, David with running for Senate District 22. For being our guinea pigs on our very first virtual Meet the Candidates Forum. We'll be doing this again next Monday, and if I did this correctly, it should have recorded, and we'll have a recording for anyone else who wasn't able to join us. I know that this is kind of dinner hour for a lot of folks, so we'll be able to have this recording for others who would like to see it in the future between now and the primary. And again, thank you all for helping with this, and look forward to hopefully seeing y'all in person at a function or meeting sometime soon. Thank you all again.
Thank you, Eaddy.
Bye-bye. Bye, guys. Bye, Ben.